Hey everybody, this is Nehemiah with Havoc Gear. Thanks for stopping by. We had a follower on Instagram suggest that we do a quick video talking about the retention of our holsters, and I think that's a great idea. I thought maybe we'd expand on that just a little bit and do a quick video about our actual holsters and do a quick overview. First of all, we're a relatively new company, Havoc Gear, and no one really knows about us, so I'll just talk briefly about who we are. We're locally owned and operated in Anderson, Indiana, by myself and my wife. Just the two of us, family-owned business here in the good old U.S. of A. We're thankful to live in such a great country where we can do this. So, and thank you to all of you for supporting us. First holster that I want to go over is the Havoc Banshee. This is an inside the waistband holster. This particular one that I hold in my hand is for the Glock 19 and 23, which, as you Glock guys know, are the same handgun in different calibers. Here's my personal Glock 23. Of course, safety checked, and pardon me, I'm a lefty. Of course, it has very nice fit and retention. So, just to show you really quickly, it has a very nice positive click when the gun enters the holster, and I'll shut up so you can hear it. There you go. It is adjustable retention, and I'll show you exactly how you do that. I'm going to take a screwdriver and this little screw right here in front of the trigger guard. You'll notice that the design of the holster is such that I left a lot of the area, well, actually all of the area in front of the trigger guard empty, and there's a nice even space in there. The reason for that is it allows the holster to move laterally where you can tighten it down. So just tighten it down to a few little strokes. I like my holsters very, very tight, and you'll notice that there's a little bit of difference in the click there. Of course, it was a bit tighter, and then when you draw, it's very tight. If you tighten it down even more, of course, it gets very, very tight. Tighten it down as much as you want until those pieces touch if you would like. Can't guarantee that you get your gun out of there, but you can do that if you want. These holsters do ship with pull-the-dot snaps on soft loops. I found that this is the absolute best option, in my opinion, for concealed carry. When I originally was designing the Banshee and looking at all my options, there were a couple of clip designs that I came across that I thought were pretty promising. One was the Overhook, which I've used before in some holsters that I've made. I've actually been making holsters for a while for friends and family and myself, but I wasn't ready to start a business until I made a product that I can really put out there, put my name on, and be comfortable with people trusting their lives with. So anyway, I've used these before, these Overhooks. What they do is they sit here in front of the trigger guard, and of course they hook over the top of the belt. They sit inside the waistband, and they're pretty nice. They're injection molded plastic. I've tried making them out of Kydex before, and Kydex works, but then it eventually breaks, as you guys who are Kydex guys know. Kydex in a small size like this will eventually break under stress. In a large size like this, a holster where there's a lot to distribute the force of impacts and such, it really does very well, and I think it's very sturdy. So anyway, I stopped using these Overhooks, and the reason that I did is because it is very easy for this little hook to become compressed, and then what happens is that your belt pops out from under it. You try to draw your gun out of your holster, and your holster comes with it. That's not something that's acceptable on a Havoc Gear holster. Next thing is these quick clips. These actually fit in the same place that my soft loops fit. And of course, they're very quick, as the name suggests. You just stick the holster in your pants and stick this over your belt, and it actually, has a nice positive click over your belt. Feels very secure, but again, you kind of run into the same issues, especially if you were to sit down and move around a lot. These can actually become dislodged from your belt, and you run into the same issues that you do with the Overhooks. So I decided to go with only the soft loops on my holsters. Now, it does cost me a little bit more money to put these on here on every single holster. I put 2 of them on every holster. I make sure that they work really well. When they're new, when you get your holster out of the box, what you'll notice is that these loops are very, very stiff. What I recommend to do for that is to take a screwdriver with a standard head, or anything that's flat. I don't recommend using a knife because you can cut yourself. Ask me how I know. And you want to just very gently insert this in between where the snap meets the post here, and just twist it from the top, and that allows these to come off. These are designed in such a way, notice I said they're called pull the dot snaps. It says pull the dot on the top of the snap, excuse me, on the top of the cap here. And right where it says dot, that is the point where these snaps can be pulled off. So if you try to pull them off from this direction, they're not going anywhere. They're very sturdy. They're not going to pull off this direction, but if you take and you put some pressure on it this way, it's very easy for them to pop off that way. These are perfect for concealed carry in that the gun's not going to come out of your waistband. I do want to say about my holsters that every line, every scallop, every cut is there for a purpose, it's there for a reason. I like to say here at Cry Havoc Gear, I don't do cute. And I will do some different colors and patterns of Kydex, but that's the extent that I do. I will do custom orders generally, but as far as my product lineup and what I present to a customer as this is what you want to protect yourself and your family, I don't throw any extra cuteness in there. I don't design around cute. So what that means is, for instance, this cut right here is there so it's a little bit more comfortable. This cut here is there so it doesn't poke into your pants. It doesn't come together in the muzzle like you'll see some Kydex makers do, because it makes it more concealable, and of course allows you to use some different types of firearms in there. Like I said, every cut on this holster, every scallop is purposeful. I don't do any cute designs here around the ejection port area. I spend a lot of time with my molds to make them perfect. The reason for that is I carry my own gear, and I would not put a product out there and expect someone to buy it and carry it that I wouldn't trust my life and my wife's life and the lives of my children with. That's just my philosophy here at Cry Havoc. I like to think of a comfort scale, and of course comfort's another big part of concealed carry. On one end of the comfort scale you have holsters that are extremely comfortable, like pocket holsters. And of course those you throw in your pocket, you don't even realize they're there. But they're not very functional, because if you've ever tried to draw from a pocket holster while you're seated, for instance in a car, you can't do it. Or it's very hard to get to your handgun. Your handgun's inaccessible. On the other end of the spectrum are holsters that are maybe very functional, but not very comfortable. And let's be honest, if it's not comfortable, a lot of guys aren't going to carry it. You may buy it, you may carry it 3 times, 5 times, but you're not going to carry it for very long. And my philosophy here at Cry Havoc is that everyone has a point on that spectrum where, you know, if they don't feel very good, maybe they're not going to carry that gun that day. Well, I make my holsters as comfortable as they possibly can be, so that maybe when they wake up that morning and they're not feeling well, some of these other holsters, they may think, I'm just not feeling well enough to wear that today. Well, maybe that's the day that they're going to end up needing to use their handgun. I couldn't rest my pillow, or my head on my pillow at night, knowing that I had provided someone with a holster that's just too uncomfortable to wear and wear regularly. And maybe that could cost them their lives, the life of their family. That's just my philosophy. So that being said, we'll move on to the next holster that I want to feature here. This is the Cry Havoc Grim holster. Call it the Grim because it can virtually disappear. I use a Raven concealment strut. Now again, I could make this out of Kydex, this strut here. I choose not to because Raven concealment makes really great injection molded plastic components. And I use this because it's going to be more durable than Kydex. Now, you can tuck your shirt behind this. Of course, this has basically the same method of operation as the Banshee in that this snap and soft loop is the same type of snap and soft loop. Like I said, it's tuckable, adjustable retention as well. Of course, this is a left-handed model. This is my personal holster. Like I said, I carry my own gear. What you can do, take a screwdriver, just like with the other holster, tighten both of these screws down or loosen them however you want them to be. Take your gun, pop it in there. There's a very nice positive click. Like I said, I like mine very tight. You can loosen these up quite a bit, but I think the way that they come, you know, is pretty good. But whatever your preference is, you know, these are very secure. Your gun is not coming out of there accidentally. You have to purposefully grab that firearm and pull it out of there. So back to the Grim. It's just a really nice carry system. This is my preferred carry system. It, of course, is fully adjustable. I already talked about the adjustable retention. You can actually move this strut down. All you do is unscrew these screws, move this down, screw the screws back in. Same thing with this loop. What you can do is actually unscrew this screw right here and move this down to the next hole, and you have an adjustable holster that you can adjust the right height anywhere that you want it to be. Now, back to comfort. The other benefit of this particular strut system is that it doesn't have two attachment points. If you look at the Banshee, it has two attachment points to your belt. It's going to pivot a little bit this way, but it's not going to pivot quite as much as this one is. Moving the vertex of this axis up here, you notice that it's actually going to pivot from this point. So your loop attaches to your belt. Again, this gun is empty. Your loop attaches to your belt, but it allows the holster to move with your hip. And what that accomplishes is an extreme amount of comfort, because anytime that you move, this Kydex is going to move with you. I know you guys are thinking you don't want your gun moving in your pants, but again, your vertex is right here. It pivots right here. So if your draw stroke is consistent and exactly the same every time, as long as you index your middle finger right behind that snap, your gun is going to end up in your hand with a firing grip every time. So, all that being said, these are two holsters from my lineup. They're really spectacular, really high quality, really solid holsters that'll hold up for a really long time. And of course, you know, as you've seen on my website, these holsters do come with a lifetime warranty, and what that means is that as long as Cry Havoc gear is around, if you have a problem with one of these holsters, send it back to us. We will fix or replace it for free. And that's because I stand behind my products, because I make good stuff. Thank you for stopping by. Please do check out our website, www.cryhavocgear.com. Also follow us on Instagram and then Facebook. I'll put all those links in the description below, so please do check those out. Thank you.